both based in Cebu and were funded by the Commission on Higher Education. So nung April lang po natapos yung field work. So at dahil minadali na kami ng CHED, so kailangan lang mag-report. So the same thing that we will be sharing with you this morning is the same thing that we have reported to CHED. So if there are some questions or clarifications later on, we will really value that dahil makaka-improve, makaka-enhance siya sa research results. At the onset, let me just thank PNFSP for bringing us here. Maraming salamat talaga because I firmly believe that research is meant to be shared and research is meant to improve lives and serve the communities and not just for journals and libraries. So here you have, well, our title, You Can't Have Our Land Grabbing, Gendered Impacts and Resistance in Central Philippines. Let me start with the rationale of the study. So we chose land grabbing as a topic because it has been the starting point of Asia's struggles, even in the Philippines, especially in the Philippines. Revolutions and revolts in past centuries, and these have led to enclosures and privatization of land and water rights, further excluding and marginalizing our peasants, fisher folks, and indigenous groups. And in fact, in the Philippines, we can consider land grabbing as an age-old phenomenon, since Spanish time, even. And it raises many important questions about the welfare, livelihood, and 10-year security of impoverished farmers and farm workers in the Philippines. And we can never ignore that, in the light of the fact that of the 26.5 million poor people in the country in 2000, 7.1 million were in urban and 19.4 million live in rural areas. And nearly 75.6% of the Filipino poor are actually rural poor. Now, aside from looking at land grabbing generally, we also focus on the particular impacts on women. This is because women are likely to be affected differently to men by land grabbing and large-scale land acquisitions because generally they are very vulnerable as a group. Sorry. This is something I haven't changed. Pasensya na po. Sige. So, according to Dali, women's vulnerability is fourfold. First, vulnerability arises from the constraints and systemic discrimination that women face in relation to their access to ownership of and control of land, including the level of legal protection of their land rights. Second is through the systemic discrimination they face in social-cultural and political relations, particularly in relation to their role in decision-making and their ability to exercise freely voice and choice in decisions that affect their lives. The third one arises from the more general state of their relative income poverty vis-a-vis men. Now, we have known about feminization of poverty. Fourth, it arises through women's general physical vulnerability vis-a-vis men, manifested in gender-based and sexual violence against women. Now, what was the main question that we wanted to answer as we proceed with the research? It is to seek understanding, enhancement of understanding on how our social structures, state systems, cultural values, and historical practices lead to land grabbing, influence gendered impacts, and engender resistance variously put up by men and women in Central Philippines, particularly in Cebu and Bohol. So what were the methods used in this study? First, it's an anthropological preference. It's always to do participant observation. You really go out of your way to go to the area and participate as you observe the people. The second is key informant interviews, or KII. A total of 25 farmers have been interviewed for this research. And we also did 5 focus group discussions, 3 in Aloginsan, Cebu, and 2 in Mabini, Bohol. So these are the research areas you see there. the map of Cebu, and here is Alubinsan, and here is Bohol, here is Mabini. So this is the research area in Bohol, Mabini, where there are plenty of palm oil plantations. And this is the land in question in Alubinsan. It's a 127-hectare lot that has been repeatedly attempted not to be grabbed for a long time now. So just a little bit background about Mabini, Bohol. It's a coastal municipality located along the eastern portion of the province of Bohol. And it's like 2 to 3 hours of travel if you come from Tagbilaran. And it's considered a fourth-class municipality with a population of 28,788. And farmers here own small parcels of land, mostly inherited from their parents or by virtue of an award given by the Department of Agriculture through the Certificate of Eligibility for Conversion, or CEC. Bonbon, Alubinsan, on the other hand, is in Cebu province. It's about 37 kilometers west-southwest of provincial capital of Cebu City, with a population of 32,100, just slightly bigger with that from Mabini, Bohol. Just like Mabini, it's also considered a fourth-class municipality, subdivided into 15 barangays. And it has been the site of a bitter land dispute which resulted to violence in 2011. The 168-hectare prime agricultural land was eyed for conversion into a shipyard, golf course, and a special economic zone, as usual. So what are our findings? First, land grabbing is pervasive and multifaceted. With these two areas alone, there have been many attempts to take lands from the farmers. So for Bonbon alone, there were like 4 moneyed, powerful families since 1900s who tried to take it from them. And usually the farmers, whenever an administrator of the landowners would come and demand a share from their produce, without asking, without questioning, they just give in, give in like 1/4 of their harvest para, well, in Cebuano we call it para waisamo, para wala nang gulo, so there will be no more trouble, so they just give in. But they even got a cadastral certificate from the ENR in the 1980s, and this is what they are really holding on up to now. The case is still ongoing, but you can say that you can see from that aside from believing that land is rightfully theirs because they are the ones stealing it, they really think that the cadastral certificate from the ENR is really giving them that legal ownership of the land. And as I said earlier, there was the latest attempt to take the land from them was when the Gantuangco, the family who claimed owning the land, really resorted to fencing the property. And so the farmers, mostly women, really put up a barricade, and in fact, in the end, 39 farmers were arrested in prison, and majority of them were women. In San Jose, Mabini, Bohol, farmers were tilling a timberland owned by the government since 1930s when a certain colonel, an army officer, built a ranch and destroyed their farms. Since 2001, a sizable number of farmers also were lured into planting palm oil, purportedly for bigger income. They were told that they will be able to buy cars, that they will have to forget poverty because planting palm oil will really enrich them. And 7 of the interviewed palm oil growers expressed regret now, and they are resigned to the idea that they can no longer get back their land from the bank. Why? Because every time you plant palm oil, you have to make sure that they are fertilized. And the fertilizers come from the bank. The ones who will harvest come from the bank. So, in fact, one of the interviewees really lamented that monthly what she receives from the palm oil plantation she has, about 3 hectares, will only be like 199 pesos after the bank deducts all the how do you call this, the fees, no, from weighing, from harvesting, from the fertilizers, and also from the interest, no, from the loans that they get from the bank. So many of them are actually already resigned to the idea that they will no longer be able to get back their lands. The titles are now with the bank, specifically the FCB, First Consolidated Bank Incorporated in Bohol. Okay, so the second finding is, where am I? Sorry po. Here, poverty and government agencies are the ones that make farmers vulnerable. The persistence of poverty in the 2 farming communities that we studied resulted to very low educational attainment. Majority of the research participants reached only elementary level, grade 1, grade 4, and then while a few were able to reach first or second year of high school, and out of the 55 research participants all in all, there were only 2 who reached college level. And to defend their land, Father Dantuangcos and farmers went to the DAR Region 7 several times and found themselves unattended. When they met the director, finally they were told that the DAR made a mistake, that's why they were not given titles as beneficiaries of the land reform program. The general sentiment of the farmers when it comes to government institutions were that they are inaccessible, unapproachable, and unwilling to help. Another instance why we can say that it's the government agencies that make farmers vulnerable is when the Cantuangco family was claiming the land in Alubinsan, used the backhoe, rented the backhoe that was owned from the mayor of Alubinsan. And also at that time, when the so-called landowner wanted to fence the land, the police and the military were in full force to make sure that whatever resistance the farmers put up will be quelled. And land resource-related government agencies such as DNR and its Bureau of Forestry will know better. According to Mabini farmer leader, these agencies help convince the farmers to plant palm oil, citing that it will pave the way for the recovery of the environment. So now we go to the gendered impacts. So both men and women of Alubinsan constantly mention disruption of their economic activities and lowering, if not absence of income, as 2 of the major impacts of land grabbing in their lives. Women specifically report cases of relapse and anxiety disorders as they constantly feared for their children's safety, the absences of the children incurred in school, and of their future in general. So already burdened by household and familial obligations, the economic and health impacts amplify the women's multiple burdens. On the farmers' response, what we noticed was that both areas really had very strong farmers' organizations. So we would say that the response of the farmers when it comes to land grabbing or attempts to take away the land from them is to organize themselves so they become a force to reckon with. But this was also made possible with the presence and support of non-government organizations. If they look at government organizations as unwilling, inaccessible, unapproachable, they look at non-government organizations differently. They would look at these NGOs especially they would mention FARDEC as the ones that really educated them about the environment, how to protect them, and the importance of organizing themselves, because otherwise they will be very easy to deceive, no, by people who take away or claim their land. So in all acts of resistance, women were actively involved and even took on leadership and frontline positions, as well as initiated creative ways to defend their land, livelihood, family, and community. And I emphasize creative ways here because there was really an instance where, you know, how we can be so traditional as a people and how conservative, but at that point when the women were fighting for their land, they were already like massing up to stop the fencing. The women, especially the older women, really grabbed the genitals of the how do you call this, the police, and